Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, based on American Prometheus, starring Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, and a long list of other people. I mean, it's an amazing lineup of people that showed up to work for Christopher Nolan. Bio of Robert J. Oppenheimer. Have not read the book, I'm going to be honest. There's a quote at the beginning of the movie where it explains the story of Prometheus, which also loved the movie, directed by Ridley Scott. But Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and gave it to man, and then they killed him with it or something like that. Yeah, so basically Christopher Nolan, something new for Christopher Nolan, basically a biopic of the man who helped develop the atomic bomb. I think everybody pretty much knows this by now from the trailer. Cinematography by Hoyt van Hoytema, who was also the cinematographer on Nope, Tenet, and Dunkirk. The score by Ludwig Göransson, who has done the scores for Tenet, The Mandalorian, and Turning Red. So what I think is really cool about this is Nolan's kind of getting together his crew where, when he puts projects together, he's got like his DP now, he's got his, his composer. And like when those three come to, he puts together like really fantastic stuff. Like Dunkirk and Tenet, have that same synergistic team working together. So I think that's really awesome for him. And so okay, so I gave Oppenheimer 4.5 stars. The cinematography by Hoytema is just like all of his other recent movies. It's amazing. Makes you feel like you are in the New Mexico desert for 3 hours, but it doesn't feel like 3 hours. It's long. It breaks down pretty neatly into 3 acts. The first one is basically like an introduction to Oppenheimer's character and kind of sets up the stakes of how he gets involved in the project, how he has the initial idea for the bomb itself. To me, at least the first and the second acts were Christopher Nolan's There Will Be Blood. It felt very similar to that, with like even the look and the pacing, plane views, finding the oil and like getting the pipeline going and the drilling and setting up the platforms. Oppenheimer, it was like him like putting his team together and like getting the scientists and the mathematicians and the engineers, and it was awesome, all the way leading up to the moment everybody's waiting for, the detonation of the bomb on the first test, and then in the third act it really shifts to almost a different movie, like much older movie now. Like what came to mind for me was JFK, when it deals with the repercussions of the United States dropping the bomb, and then Oppenheimer's persecution by the government because of his views and his former connections with communists. Really like two different movies. A minute it started to feel like kind of a slog, which was like a weird emotion for me to feel like in a Nolan film. Like usually his in the third act, it's like it's picking up pace and like he's not letting the off the throttle. But in this one, it almost took a step back. Although Robert Downey Jr. helped to hold on, because he comes on a lot more in the third act. And also a cool use of Nolan's playing with time by changing formats and like the way the film is shot, and each piece is taking part. So overall, just really loved it. But not my favorite. Not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.